But taking all that into account, if I have to choose one of these two shoes, which one am I picking? Well, so in today's shoe comparison review, we got a battle of some super trainers here. We have got the Nike Zoomfly 6 up against the Saucony Endorphin Speed 4. So we're going to go through their similarities, their differences, and their key features. And hopefully from that, that's going to give you guys a great indication of choosing the right shoe for you. But before we get into it, a big shout out to my #1 running store, the Running Company at Geelong. I've got a link to their website in the description. Make sure you go check out that and check out all their running gear. And also guys, if you're new here and if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that subscribe button. And with the specs, they're both neutral road running shoes and certainly both in that super trainer category. Now with the price in the US, you pay the same price for these two shoes, but in Australia, we actually pay a little bit less for the Zoomfly, which is pretty good for us. Now in the weight, there is a little bit of difference there. Can you feel that on the foot? Yes, you can. The Endorphin Speed certainly feels like the much lighter and more nimble shoe. And in the stacks as well, you can certainly tell the difference in the stack height. So you feel much lower to the ground in the Endorphin Speed, more so than the Zoomfly. And as you can see there, nothing there in the drops. And in our upper, so two very different concepts going on here. So we've got a bit of a futuristic design coming from the future, the old Zoomfly 6, and up against the more traditional type upper in the Endorphin Speed. But the material that they use here is a engineered mesh, but really light, very breathable, and super comfortable. Not much structure to it, it just really conforms around the foot. Got a pretty solid heel counter at the back, no Achilles flare or pull tab. We've probably got a medium amount of padding around the heel collar, and that the tongue is also nicely padded. Just at the top though, the rest of the tongue is meshed all the way down, just adding to the breathability of the shoe. This tongue is gusseted, so it's not going anywhere. With the laces and the lacing system, pretty standard from Saucony here. The laces are really long and stretchy, but I haven't really had a drum with them coming undone. They've also got some little loops, lace loops further up the shoe that sort of just help the lockdown of the shoe up on the midfoot area. Now in the lockdown, excellent, no issues whatsoever here. And in the fit, so I'm going to say true to size in the length, but Saucony historically for me are a bit narrow. So for that, I have come half a size up in my Endorphin Speed and it absolutely fits me perfectly. Build quality, Saucony usually is always excellent. This one is no exception. And stepping comfort, upper wise, this is an amazingly comfortable upper. And with the Zoomfly, so the material that they use here is a double layer engineered woven. Now the material here is really tightly woven together, and when you initially look at it, it just looks like a plastic sheen all around the shoe, and it doesn't look very breathable whatsoever. However, this mesh is very effective and it does allow for the air to flow through into the foot. Heel counter, we've got a much more solid heel counter here in the Zoomfly over the Endorphin Speed, which is interesting. And this shoe has got a flare. In the padding department though, I'm going to say the Zoomfly has got more padding around the heel collar and on that Achilles flare than the Endorphin Speed. But in the tongue, so the tongue is totally different. We've got some padding on the tongue here in a bit of a T shape. So it goes across the front and all the way down, down to the bottom of your foot there towards the toes. And the rest of the tongue is also meshed as well. The tongue is sewn in to the internal mesh of the shoe, which is really nice. So again, it doesn't go anywhere. So it is like a gusseted tongue. Laces you're going to get here, they're a lot thin and more robust than you're going to get in the Endorphin Speed, but pretty standard lacing system. No issues with the laces coming undone. They're not too long or too stretchy. Lockdown is absolutely excellent in this shoe, and the fit, true to size in the length. In the width, for me, it's absolutely perfect. So I would say normal. And toe box volume as well is just right. Now, build quality, not too bad here from Nike, but stepping comfort is absolutely amazing in this shoe. And in the outsoles here, so they've got the same sort of design concept going on where they put their rubber on the bottom of the shoe. So as you can see there, both forefoots are pretty much covered in their rubber and also just in the high wear areas at the rear. They've both got exposed foam through the middle of the shoe, and then they've both got a little window there that you can see the exposed plate in both shoes. But although those two designs are very similar, how they perform is quite different, and it's especially in the wet. So the Endorphin Speed here actually runs into some trouble still on a wet road. Well, certainly the wet roads here in Australia, I know some people have reported back to me that it performs well in the wet in other countries on their roads, but certainly on the Australian roads where I test this shoe, this one turns into a bit of an ice skate. So yeah, although this new lattice design is an improvement from the previous version, it's still got its issues. But durability wise, it actually wears down quite well. So I'm actually pretty impressed with how slow or how much this rubber is holding up. But with the Zoomfly, so it's the waffle design pattern that they've got on the bottom here, and obviously it's a different rubber compound, so it doesn't have the issues in the wet that the Endorphin Speed has. So the grip is certainly better in the wet conditions in the Zoomfly. And durability wise as well, so this rubber wears down just as well as what you're going to get in the Endorphin Speed. And in the midsole, so both shoes are boasting a form of their brand's super foam. So with the Endorphin Speed, so they are using Power Run PB. Now that was Saucony's first ever super foam, and they've got a big slab of that foam. So it's got other foams mixed in with it, no EVA blends or anything like that, just pure super foam, which is just amazing to see. Now within this Power Run PB, they've got a winged nylon plate just to give this shoe a little bit of rigidity and give this foam some structure. But check this out. This is one of the most flexible plated shoes I think that's on the market. So I don't know how actually what sort of part it's actually playing in giving this shoe some rigidity. Like I'd like to see how flexible this shoe would be without the wing plate. So not sure if it needs it, but Saucony, obviously they're the experts. They think it does need it. But yeah, it's so flexible. For a shoe that's got a plate, crazy flexible. Now, geometry-wise, they have got their speed roll tech. So that's what they call their 4-foot rocker. And that's just where they place their rocker. And that's just about here. So it's in a really nice spot in the Endorphin Speed. So same sort of spot as where they put it in the Endorphin Pro as well. And it's certainly engineered just for performance. So you can't really feel it too much when you're jogging around, but when you start picking up the pace, this speed roll tech really feels amazing. Now in the Zoomfly, so they have got dual density foam here. So you can see that they've got a big Zoom X written on the bottom of the shoe, but Zoom X is actually not the majority of foam in this shoe, believe it or not. So Zoom X, they've got a top layer of their super foam, Zoom X, at the top, and that is the thinner layer of the shoe, but it is the layer that is closest to the foot, so you do get that super foam sensation in this shoe. Now, under that Zoom X, they have got they say on the website that it is a carbon plate, but I'm not convinced it's a traditional carbon plate because this shoe as well, for a plated shoe, is quite flexible. It's not as flexible as the Endorphin Speed, so it's got a little bit more structure to it, certainly up around the toe area, so it's super stiff through here, but the rest of the shoe is quite flexible. But yeah, I couldn't do that with a normal carbon plated shoe as well. So that is certainly giving it some rigidity, but this shoe's got lot of snapback in comparison to the Endorphin Speed 4. Now under its plate, it has got another type of foam. So they're more traditional EVA type foam, the SRO2 foam that they've used in other models. But what's surprising in this shoe or this version of this SRO2 foam is just how soft it is. So it is super duper soft. So it's softer than the Zoom X, which is absolutely it's just caught me off guard because I did not think this SRO2 was that soft. So you can check that out. Like I can just squeeze that in. It's just so soft and mushy, which actually I don't mind actually. So it really takes the pounding out of the road here. Geometry wise though, they have got a 4-foot rocker as well. So it starts further back in the shoe, so certainly further back than the Endorphin Speed. You need to be running a little bit faster to get onto this one. This one, it's a little bit more accommodating to a variety or sort of those slower paces because it starts further back in the shoe and it's more gentle. So it's not as noticeable as what it is in the Endorphin Speed. And in the ride, so two very different experiences going on here. So with the Endorphin Speed 4, so this one has just got lots of energy return. It's very poppy. Very bouncy. It's got really quick rebound. Is it soft? It's not overly soft and squishy, but you do sink into the foam a little bit, but the rebound is just super fast. So yeah, just so much energy to turn. Very, very springy shoe, very exciting shoe. But it really comes alive the faster that you run in it. So once you start utilizing this rocker, then this shoe really comes alive. So for me, it feels much better at running fast and certainly jogging. It does feel a little bit softer through the heel than certainly to the forefoot, but that transition when coming through the shoe actually feels, yeah, just that little bit clunky because I feel the shoe is a little bit too flexible through the middle of the shoe. Again, feels pretty stable, and you do feel really low to the ground in comparison to the Zoomfly 6. Now, with the Zoomfly 6, this shoe is so much softer than the Endorphin Speed 4. When you run, you do really squish right down in the shoe, and the rebound is very different to the Endorphin Speed 4. So this has got a really slow bounce type rebound, where the Endorphin Speed was sink into a little bit and a fast rebound. So an energetic rebound. This is more of a slow bounce rebound, but it is a super duper comfortable ride. It feels really good at jogging as well, and it feels surprisingly fast when you pick up the pace. You do feel like you've got a much taller, chunkier shoe on your foot in comparison to the Speed 4, so it doesn't feel as light and nimble. It also is a bit of a noisy shoe if you don't mind a bit of noise. And best shoes, so both shoes claim to be pretty versatile shoes, and they are for a lot of people. But what I would prefer in each shoe, so for my easy runs, I would certainly be picking the Zoomfly over the Endorphin Speed. This one feels amazing at just jogging around, so soft, so comfortable, where this one does feel a little bit clunky at them slower paces. For that tempo pace or your steady pace range, which one am I leaning for? Well, I think it's about a tie because it would just depend how I'm feeling on the day, but both feel really nice at those type of paces. And when you pick it up even faster, so for your faster reps or your race efforts or even some threshold work, which one am I leaning towards? Well, I think I'm going to lean towards the Endorphin Speed 4. It does feel like the faster shoe. It's lighter on the foot. It's more nimble. And just that foam has just got, feels like it's got a little bit more explosive. And for the long run, which one am I leaning for? Well, I'm going to go for the Zoomfly 6 because I think this is a great long run shoe. So nice and soft, but not soft where you are digging yourself out of sand. You still feel like you can tick along quite efficiently in this shoe. And just wrapping it up here, so what's really jumped out to me when testing both these two shoes is just how much your perception can change when you are directly like testing shoes out against each other. So when you're jumping from one shoe to the other, it does really affect yeah, your whole experience in the new shoe you're jumping into compared to what you've come out of. So if you've come out of a really soft, squishy shoe, and then you jump into, say, like I did, like the Endorphin Speed, as I said, my perception of this was it felt like a really old school, low stack, sort of up tempo trainer from back in the day, but really it's got quite a high stack. It's got super foam in it. And when I tested this shoe by itself without comparing it to anything else, it actually feels, it does feel soft, but it feels really bouncy, really explosive. But coming straight out of this into that, it sort of muffled the experience of it, which you need to be wary about, or certainly I need to be wary about when testing shoes. And then from jumping from the Endorphin Speed into the Zoomfly, so this felt overly soft, overly bouncy, overly heavy as well when initially when I went from one to the other. So that the experience, when I got used to running in this and then I went back to this, yeah, my perception of this shoe changed as well. So yeah, just really, really interesting to see how much it affects you. So, but taking all that into account, if I have to choose one of these two shoes, which one am I picking? Well, for the high-end speed stuff, I'm going to go with the Speed 4, but overall though, just for its versatility, I'm going to go with the Zoomfly 6. But anyway, guys, that's it from me. Any questions you've got regarding my time in these two shoes, please just drop it in the comments below. And anything else you want to ask, you know where to put it in the comments. Thanks for watching. Make sure you give this video a like, subscribe to the channel, and we'll see you next time.